We're just about there. It says we're live streaming, and I'm just looking for us on Facebook.
Which always takes a moment or two.
Right. That's why I figured start it now. And I have a feeling we are just about there, Cantor Aronoff.
All right.
Okay. All righty. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, everyone out on Facebook and YouTube, out at Area 51, wherever you are. And however you are receiving these services, it's great to be able to have a little bit of time with y'all, myself, with Cantor Aronoff, and we're here with the Berkovich family celebrating Leo's bar mitzvah. Yay, Leo! So we're going to begin with a little bit of warming up, and Cantor, for all of that good warm-up stuff, I'm turning things over to you. Which way do you want to go?
I'm going to start with a little nigun, and then I'll let you know from there.
Hey, sounds good.
So, Shabbat Shalom, Erev Tov to everyone. And I thought we would begin tonight with one of my favorite things, Yedid Nefesh, which is on page 10. And there are many settings to this particular tune. Hold on one moment. And I'm going to do a setting by David Ross, a musician who used to work at Camp Ramah in California. Well, now there's two. So Camp Ramah in Ojai, California. And I'm going to be accompanied by David Kaminer on the piano, who's not in my house, but rather who sent me a sound file some months ago towards the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm going to use it. So here we go. Page 10, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman Mishoch Avdecha El Ritzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kimo Mahaya Ishtachave El Muladarecha Yarutz Avdecha Kimo Mahaya Ishtachave El Muladarecha Yerav Lo Yedidotecha Mino Bechol ta'am Yerav lo yedidotecha minofetzu bechol ta'am. alena ufros chavivi alai et sukat shlomecha ta'ir eretz mikvodecha nagila v'nismecha bach ta'ir eretz mikvodecha nagila v'nismecha bach maher eyov ki ba'moed b'chonenu ki me'olam maher eyov ki ba'moed b'chonenu ki me'olam. Yedid nefesh avrachaman Yedid nefesh avrachaman
Yasher Koach.
And that's the end of that speaker. Okay. Thank you. I love that Yedid Nefesh. It really puts me in the mood. By the way, if any of you are familiar with Dave Brubeck Take 5, reminiscent, because it is in 5/4. You just count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. And it's just, yes, swing. So have a swing in Shabbat, everyone. We're going to turn now, as I open my Siddur, to page 11. I believe it is 11 and 12. Lechu neranena. Of course, I have to pick up my guitar too, so I will do that too. Lechu neranena. Oh no. Okay. So much for my guitar strap, which just came apart. Happen to have a chair here. That's very convenient. Lechu neranena l'Adonai nariya litzur yishenu nikadma fana bitoda bizmiro nariya lo nikadma fana bitoda bizmiro nariya lo Gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher beyado mechkerei haaretz v'toafot harim lo asher beyado mechkerei haaretz v'toafot harim lo Asher lo yambiu asa u'v'yaveshet yadav yatzar u'monish tachav v'nechtar. Arba'im shana akut bedor va'omaram to'e levavhem v'hem lo yadu derachai asher nishbati be'api im yevo'un el menuchati. Next page. Page 13, but in a new key. La 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 ya nai na nai nai ya nai na nai nai ya la 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 ya la 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 ya חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו בכל העמים, אי נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, איי איי איי, כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, באדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו עוז ותפארת במקדשו, הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, ויבואו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו. Ay, 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 ay. Turn the page to page 14 if I can. There it is. השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיכון תבל בעל תימון, ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, אוי ירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, איי איי איי, אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים באמונתו, ילאי לילאי לי, ילאי לי לי לי, ויאי לי לי לי, לי 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 ילאי, ניי 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 ניי, ניי 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 ניי.
Continuing on page 21.
With a Sephardic tune for Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, habu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, habu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, habu l'Adonai kivod shemo, yishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakamod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'kova, kol Adonai be'adar, kol Adonai shober arazim, vayishaber Adonai et arzei Lebanon, vayarkidem kimo egel, Lebanon v'Sirion kemo ben Rebim, kol Adonai chotzei וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לימו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
Continue now with Lecha Dodi, page 23 through page 25. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם, נסוכה סוף במעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך אפיך, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. התעוררי התנערי מיפרקו מילים שבגדי תפארתך מי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קרבה אל נפשי כיעלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי התעוררי, כי בא אורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מן תשתוכחי ומה תמי, פח יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עירותי לה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. והיו למשיסה שוסה
אלייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתן חתן על כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי את אדוני תעריצי אל יריש פן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue now, page 27, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Psalm for Shabbat.
Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות על יסור בלינה ולליבי ומכינות Tzadikat Amarifrach Ke'erez Balvanon Yiskeh Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvun Beseva Teshenim Verananim Yiyu Lehagid Ki Ashar Adonai Tsuri Belo Avlatabo
Yasher Koach, Cantor Enoff, thank you so much for leading us so beautifully through Kabbalat Shabbat. We are very fortunate this particular Shabbat because we get to celebrate with the Berkovich family, for it is Leo's bar mitzvah. Yay, Leo! Hence, for the rest of this weekend, we are only referring to the synagogue as Adat Ari, and we're leaving off the L. Leo, Ari, Lion. Okay. That's it. That was my one pun for the whole Shabbos. But we're very fortunate to be able to celebrate with the family, and we have Alex and his wife Regina. Alex, many of us know because Alex is a cantor as well and has led services for us on any number of occasions. It's a pleasure to be able to share all of this with all of you. So turning things over to them for the blessing over the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat.
So kiss the person next to you, or kiss the screen, or just kiss somebody and say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And at this point in time, we're going to be turning things back over to the Berkoviches, and we need to see Leo because they're going to be presenting him with his talit at this time.
We stay here. Dear Leo, my dear son Ari, I am speaking to you on behalf of all our family and especially as your father. In a morning service in the Shacharit, among many prayers and blessings, there will be one which very traditional, but may sound strange. It goes, I am freed from the punishment due to this boy. In other words, I am no longer responsible for you, Leo. It's great, but at the same time, I'm sad a little bit, as for the last 13 years, I was so involved in every aspect of your life. Now it has to be changed. You and I, you know that so many times we discuss the parental control things, frequently we argue. That is normal. Now you are mature enough and must be responsible for your deeds and words. You know that. What you may not like to think about is that at some points in life, everyone needs guidance, help, and protection. With great expectations, we are giving you these studies. Let it be your protection, like a strong roof above your head, like the wings of a bird who embrace her nest. As you carry this shawl in your shoulders as you fulfilling of mitzvah of wearing tzitzit, the talis should be also remind you the rest of mitzvot you are responsible for now. The mitzvot to be a good man, man of loving kindness, be merciful, also creative, curious, and adventurous young gentleman. From tomorrow on, nothing will change in our love to you, yet you will feel more expectations from now. Don't see them as a burden. Think about it as a path to success. Wear it with joy and health.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov, mazel tov. All righty, so at this point in time, you all can sit down. In fact, everyone can sit down if you're not seated. In a moment, we're going to be turning to page 39A for the call to worship the Baruch Hu, but first,
A little Torah.
thank you, Cantor Aronoff. So this week's Torah portion, Parshat Vayishlach, among the many different stories that it has within it, is the reuniting once again of Jacob with Esau. 20 years prior, Jacob fled his home because Esau had quite a murderous intent towards his brother having cheated him out of the blessing of the firstborn. And so Jacob spends 20 years with his uncle Lavan becoming physically a much stronger, much more tested person. He becomes much wealthier. He grows in status. He has wives. He has flocks. He has tremendous possessions. And then he makes his way back to the land itself. He will confront himself in a wrestling match at night with some stranger. He will then meet up with his brother, and he'll be reunited with his brother, having shared with his brother a good portion of his own wealth as a way of trying to placate him. And then the Torah says that he then moves on, and here's what the Torah says in chapter 33, verse 18. V'yavo Yaakov shalem ir Shechem. And Jacob arrived safely in the city of Shechem. This is where he went to after he and Esau both reunited and then split. And it's a very interesting verse because it says, V'yavo Yaakov shalem, and that's what the verse is translating as he arrived in health, where he arrived in safety to the city of Shechem. But the word shalem, as many of you probably hear, comes from the word shalom, which means peace or wholeness. And there's a line of rabbinic thought and tradition that translates shalem not as safe or in safety, but as wholeness. And that Jacob arrived in wholeness to the city of Shechem. So the rabbis then ask, so what does it mean to be whole? And they say in the Talmud, there's three things that constitute wholeness. Jacob arrives whole because of his body, because of his finances, and because of his Torah learning. And it's because these three things were all in place for Jacob, right, that he was able to come to and arrive at Shechem in shalem, in wholeness. And that's basically, that's where the Midrash ends. Except there's one problem, at least, that I have with it, which is it doesn't make sense to me on the surface, because to say that wholeness, shalem, is made up of physical well-being and financial well-being and Torah study doesn't make sense, at least thinking about Jacob at that particular time in his life, because, well, first physically, he now limps. Right? He didn't limp before, but he has this confrontation with this man and he walks away from it limping. So by the time he gets to Shechem, he's in a sense physically not as strong as he once was. And it talks about his wealth, his finances. Well, he gave away a chunk of what he had in order to appease Esau. And so he's not nearly as wealthy as he was. And in terms of Torah learning, he's just been slaving away, working for Lavan for 20 years. He hasn't been able to do any Torah learning. So how are we to understand this rabbinic comment that says Jacob arrived shalem, arrived whole at Shechem because of his finances, his physical well-being, and his Torah study, when his finances have been diminished, his physical strength has been diminished, and his Torah learning has been diminished as he hasn't been able to do it for 20 years? And the answer that I will suggest is the following, is that it is possible that the rabbis put these three things out there in a way to challenge us, understanding that these three things, in fact, were not increasing for Jacob, but diminishing, as a way of teaching us the following. Shalem, shlemut, wholeness, does not come from external things. It doesn't come from just how your body is or how your finances are or what your Torah learning is or what status you possess. Those things will increase and decrease over time. At different points in our lives, our bodies will be better and they won't. Our finances will be stronger and then they won't. Our learning will be greater and then it won't. We all go through periods of time where there are ups and downs within these things. Shlemut, wholeness, doesn't come from that. It comes from inside us. It comes from how we deal with the ups and downs of our finances, of our physical well-being, of our Torah learning, or anything that goes on in our lives. I think what this rabbinic midrash is trying to teach us is that these three things are components by which we measure our shlemut, our wholeness, not because of how much we have of them, but of how well we deal with them when they are not everything we want them to be. When our physical health isn't what we want it to be. Our ability to feel shlemut, wholeness, is our ability to accept and work with where we are, where our physical capacities are at that particular moment in our life. Our finances might not always be where we want them to be. Our wholeness therefore comes not with the amount of money that we possess at any given point in time, but our ability to deal with the ups and downs, the vicissitudes of our financial well-beings. And the same is true for our Torah learning, our ability to engage ourselves intellectually. There are times in our lives where our intellectual capabilities and our ability to work on them are greater, and then times when they are less. There's an ebb and flow to these things well. And once again, our wholeness, our shaleimness, our shleimut, is based upon not how smart we are, how knowledgeable we are at any given topic at any particular point in time, but how well we can accept those times when we do feel our intellectual capabilities are at their strongest, along with when they're not necessarily as strong as we'd like them to be. Wholeness is not a matter of having a lot of whatever it is that we want, but wholeness comes from our ability to deal with when we have a lot and when we have a little. It's our ability to go with the flow of life and be able to ride that flow in a manner that allows us to both feed and nourish our own well-being as well as the well-being of those around us, irrespective of how we're doing on any particular category within our life. Manage this, learn how to do this as Jacob did, and then we too may arrive wherever we're going in shalem, in peace, wholeness, and safety. And that, my friends, is our Torah for today. Shabbat shalom, everyone. All righty, we now turn to page 39a for the call to worship the Baruch Hu. I invite everybody to please rise, and this is one of them eastward facing prayers.
Okay.
On page 39a.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umatil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chaleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, Hama'ariv aravim, Ahavat olam beit Yisrael.
Adat Ari, page 40, followed by the Shema on page 41.
V'avatcha tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך והיה.
Continue through page 42 with the second and third paragraphs of the Shema.
Adonai Elohechem emet ve'emunah kol tov v'kayim aleinu ki Adonai Eloheinu v'yitzulatov v'nach Yisrael.
Page 43a.
Top of 44. U'malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleim. Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael anu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora teilot. Oh, sefele nora teilot. Oh, sefele malchutecha ra'u banecha bokei ayam lifnei Moshe ze'eli anu v'yameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar kif Adonai et Yaakov uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. Continue now with Hashkivenu, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom l'shalom Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom l'shalom Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom l'shalom Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom l'shalom. Stand us up Adonai, you'll spread your wings upon Give us peace and keep us safe. L'shalom, l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. L'shalom, l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, hapare sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Shabbos la'asot, et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Shabbos la'asot, et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. U'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, bayom hashvi'i. Get ready, Rabbi Bernhard. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat,
Shabbos.
la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'gala b'gala u'bizman kariv yimeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, li'olam li'ol me'omaya yitbarach. Yiparach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpar, v'yitorman, v'yitnasei, v'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitala, shemei dekudisha, b'richu le'ela, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alema, ve'yimiru. Amen.
We now turn to page 47 for the Amidah. It goes from page 47 to page 52, and this is a time within our service when you can pray the Hebrew if that's what works for you. If the English is more your style and more your groove, terrific. If you want to just use this moment as some ability to just have some quiet time to reflect upon the week as past and offer up prayers of gratitude for the blessings that have come your way, a good use of this time as well. So different options, different ways to use this space to be able to connect to the sacred and to the divine. Begins, as I said, page 47, goes through to page 52, and this is also one of those prayers where we face east. If you finished, you may be seated.
Ose shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru יתגרה ויתקרא שמי רביו. בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה ותשבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בימה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובעלתון לכל ישראל קודם אבוהן וישמעיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו amen.
All righty. Once again, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise as we turn to page 55 in our Sidurim, and we have Leo, our bar mitzvah for this weekend, who is going to be leading us in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei beri hagatzen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yishanu b'mitzvotav v'matzavanu v'shabbat kosher v'chava v'ratzon hini lanu zikaron v'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila v'mikra'ei kodesh zeher l'yitziat Mitzrayim.
Kivanu b'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshcha ve'achava u'ratzon
Hinatanu Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Time. Yasher Koach, Leo.
Yasher koach. Well done. Beautifully led, Leo. And look forward to tomorrow morning and be able to share the services with you then. And again, Mazel Tov to you, to Alex, Regina, to all of you. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
All righty, so my friends, we remain standing as we now turn to page 56, facing east once more for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמרנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרה בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו ידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני אלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. אוקיי, נקבל את אדוני אלוהים. כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולם תמלוך בכבוד ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
May be seated. As we turn to page 58 for Kaddish Yatum for the Mourner's Kaddish, we have been oftentimes when we have those who are a little bit more technically savvy than me posting the names of all the art sites in the chat box. I'm not that technically savvy or I'm not that technically thoughtful. So I'm just going to read the names that we are going to be observing for the week to come. So in the following week, members of our congregation will be observing the following yard sites of Madeline Burrell, Kenneth Blumberg, Samantha Friedman, Ignaz Grunwald, Jack Jacoby, Robert Nussbaum, Bernard Gusto, Rose J, Eva Joseph, Betty Munch, Joel Rosenzweig, Adolf Turk, Tilly Zimmelman, Esther Abacassis, Fortune Bambani, Ethel Cohen, Tilly Englander, Ann Friedman, Morris Goldberg, Lurian Ross, Jean Miller Tillum, Sam Urbach, Cuddy Cohen, Morris Cohen, Joseph Friend, Vera Gabor, Sydney Mann, Burton Orloff, Dora Pessin, Anna Schildkraut, Dorothy Chase, Golda Davidson, Helen Friedman, Dr. Morris Green, Milton Josephberg, Jeff Miller, Leonard Palmer, Rudolph Rosenberg, Rosalia Rosenberg, Max Roth, Aubrey Shapiro, Alex Chernoff, Israel Cohen, Joseph Cohen, Yaakov Goncher, Jacob Lazaro, Celia Silverberg, Jeanette Simon, John Singer, Stephen Koblins, Charlotte Gerber, Stephen Kahane, Annie Katsir, Harry Kerdman, Yola Lane, and Philip Spessiner. If there's any names that we've neglected to mention, I invite you to please put them in the Facebook chat section, in the comment section, but also please email me after Shabbat. Glad to add them or cover whatever mistake we have in our database. We now turn to page 58, and I invite anyone who's currently reciting the Mourner's Kaddish or anyone who's observing the yard site this week to rise and to join with me in this prayer of remembrance and sanctification. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. V'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam l'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal Shmei d'kudesha brichu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechmata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom dimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Alrighty, my friends, as we conclude services on page 62 with Yigdal, just a few acknowledgements. I just want to acknowledge my partner in crime, Cantor Aronoff, and thank you so much, Cantor Aronoff, for leading us so beautifully through Kabbalat Shabbat and through services as well. Also,
Little Torah.
More than welcome. We also just want to give a shout out to Leo Berkovich and to Alex and to Regina and to the whole family and Mazel Tov, Leo, and your bar mitzvah. And we also want to bring everyone's attention to, there's a lot of different things that are going on over the course of December, a lot of different kinds of programs, but one sensational chunk of programming that people should be paying a lot of attention to is our 8 crazy nights. Our 8 nights of Hanukkah. There's programming on every single night. There's going to be candle lighting every single night. Amazing work done by so many people in our offices who have pulled this together. Just done terrific stuff, wide range of different things throughout the holiday, and we'll hope that you can join us for 1, 2, 3, or all of them, whatever works for you. Should be a wonderful time. Cantor Aronoff, anything I left out, anything you want to add?
Just to extend for a moment on what you said, if you go to the website, you will see 8 awesome nights and check it out. It's quite varied, and there's something for everyone there. And we will be doing candle lighting as a community online at 5:30 every night, except for Friday, where we have to do it earlier. And I will also remind you all that Friday, that is to say a week from tonight, which is already the second night of Hanukkah, is Naranana. It's going to be Hanukkah Naranana. That's right. And so we'll have a lot of fun. Also, same thing, 6 o'clock. So yeah, check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun, all the Hanukkah stuff we do. And we do, in fact, thank all the people in our virtual offices.
Yeah, really just amazing stuff that they pulled together. Looks like a terrific program. Hope you can join us. All righty, so we now turn to page 62, Yigdal.
Yes, Yigdal. About that. Okay. Yigdal Elohim Chai ve'yishtabach nimtza v'yenei tel metziuto echad v'yen yachid ke'yichudo nelam v'gam ein sof le'achduto lo demutagu ve'yeino guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו. נאום אדון עולם לכל האוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. קם לישראל כמשה עוד נביא ומביא את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לים אוהל, היד נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יכל לפועל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולם לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט בסוף דבר בקדמתו, אומר לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן רשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לקץ ימים לשכחנו, לפדות הר כקץ ישועתו, להיטיב לחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיית שם תהילתו, מיטיב יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיית שם תהילתו.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.